Perfect. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Jasmine Knighton. I am one of the optimizers here at Vine Skills. I work to put on free help with my lovely coworkers. Our goal at Vine Skills is to help you in whatever way you need with your Filevine and their auxiliary products as well. I worked at Filevine for about 1.5 years with Amanda and then came over to the Vine Skills team. I work mostly with getting folks launched into Filevine via our sprint process and then also our FVDA clients. And Amanda, if you want to introduce yourself.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda. As Jasmine noted, I was with her at Filevine before coming over here to Vine Skills, where I primarily work with optimization clients. So if you've been in Filevine for a little bit, we come in and take a look and make sure that everything is working as well as it can, and also talk about new tools that have come out, since that happens all the time. New things come out and we get to explore new ways to do the same process. I also work on the launch side of things. So I get the fun of helping firms jump into Filevine for the very first time.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. So today we'll be going over doc management. If you all have any questions, I see a couple of familiar names. So you all already know this, but for those of you that maybe haven't joined us or it's been a while, feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom for any questions that you have. We'll answer those in real time, or at least type an answer out to you for that. Feel free to, again, ask questions at any point in time, and we'll get those answered.
All right. I will go ahead and share my screen. So today we're going to talk about document management in Filevine. This doc section here, or documents, yours might be named something different, but this is a built-in section in Filevine that all projects will have. And you will also see different folders. Very likely you set up a custom folder tree in your customs editor, and those folders will all be here when you have a new case. So the first thing is getting documents into Filevine. You can see these documents here have the hashtag attachment email. Whenever an email is sent into Filevine with a document attachment, a copy of that document is automatically saved back here in the doc section. And anytime you upload a document to a document upload field in Filevine, you will either see that here in the general doc section, or if you've set up an auto move to folder, again in customs editor, you may see that document already filed away in one of these folders. Let's see. There were also the documents in here if you use the docgen function. So when you can generate those auto-populated letters, a copy of that is also going to be stored here. So this is kind of your hub for all project-related documents. And we can touch on the documents hub later. That's this icon up here at the top of the screen. But oops.
Sorry, Amanda, I was just going to say one other note. If you are texting your client and they send you a picture maybe of their driver's license or accident photos or something along those lines, as long as you're texting them from the project, those will also come into this doc section. And instead of having hashtag email, it will say hashtag text and then hashtag attachment. Those are automatically auto tagged for you via Filevine.
Yes, awesome. Good call out. And with those two, you can click on them to filter down your doc section to look at all of those email attachments, which is the next thing I want to talk about is how do we find the documents that we know are here? You can filter by tag. So if you're looking for an email attachment or maybe an image or a document that was texted, you can click on that tag or add it in Search Deeper to filter those documents down. I'm going to remove this filter here. You can also search for document names if you know a title or maybe a component of what's in that document. And with Docs Plus, you have the ability to search deeper. So PDF documents are generally OCR'd, so you can search for keywords within those documents if you know that one of those words is contained within. So that's searching for your documents here. You can filter them down by tag. You can look for title name. And if you have Docs Plus, you can look for keywords within the document because of OCR. When you have a document selected, I do want to show you this circle right here that's kind of filled in. This is the information menu for that document. So if you're wondering if a document has been OCR'd to do that text recognition, under the information circle, you will see status for that. OCR is completed here, so we would be able to search for keywords. I also like to call out the version history in this tab. So once you click that information circle, right next to the second information circle, you have a clock symbol, and that will show you all of the versions of this document that exist in Filevine. If you have an updated version on your desktop or outside of Filevine, you can upload that here, and rather than creating a duplicate, it would just refresh the most recent version of the document within Filevine, but you'll always have access to these older views. And I'll come back to this when we talk about PDF editing. That's another one of those Docs Plus features, but I like to highlight the version history there as well for any edits that may be accidentally applied. Another option we have here is just our document preview. This is going to show us a very tiny version of that document. And kind of going in a sandwich here, the other end of this is your share links. So all documents in Filevine, you have the option to create a share link and send this to someone outside of your org. When you have a document or multiple documents selected, you can click on New Share Link up here, or from your document menu, these three dots, you'll have the Share Link option there as well. I'll talk about share links really quickly and then go through some more of these document menu features. If I want to create a new share link, all I do is click on that plus symbol there, and this allows me to set up some permissions for this share link. I can choose to share it with anyone who I share the link with, or I can password protect it. So I could require a user to enter a password before they're able to view the document. And then I can also choose to have that link expire automatically. So if I only want them to have access to this for a limited number of days, I can set that here. You can also set a custom date range. It just has to be greater than 0. I'm going to go with 7 days. And then when I click save, it generates a link for me that I can then send out to someone either via email, or I can copy it, paste it in a text message, get it to the recipient. And when they click on this link, this is what that document view will look like for them. So they can see the document, they've got an option to download it, but they are not in your Filevine org. This is kind of just a document view window that opens up from that link. And if for any reason you need to terminate that link sooner than the expiration, you can either edit the expiration date down here, or you could just remove the share link entirely. You have the option to share folders as well. Maybe you want to send off an entire file to another attorney. If you hold down the control or command, just depending on your computer, hold down the control button, select your folder. It will show you up here that you've successfully clicked on that, and then you can click on that share link again, and this will allow you to create a folder share link. The folder share offers one extra feature that document share doesn't. If we password protect the document, we have the option to enable two-way sharing, which makes it a live folder between you and whoever you share that link with. They would be able to download documents, but they would also be able to upload them, which would give you instant access because it would be in that shared folder. All right, I'm going to stop on folder sharing. Any questions before I move on to that document menu? I don't see any in the chat. So. All right. So each document does have a document menu. when I have a doc selected here, these 3 dots give me a few options. I can download the document, I can preview it, I can email it, fax. If you have Filevine fax, you can send that off directly from here. I can convert it to a PDF. And I can also, if I have VineSign, send this off as a VineSign template. We touched on those share links. I will come back to this one really quick as I call out these other items. You can rename it, move it, or copy it to another project. You could apply a tag manually or attach this in a sidebar message. So if you wanted to pull this document up, attach it in sidebar and start a conversation with another Filevine user in your org, you can do that there as well. Note this allows you to take that document and attach it to a note or a task that you're posting in the activity feed. So I like this feature a lot. If you are needing approval on a draft of something, you can use the note this feature to task someone or mention someone or just post it as a note. And when you hit save in the activity feed, you have access to that document right from the note without having to go to the docs section to find it. Another option on this document menu is editing the document. So you can edit a doc through Docs Plus in Microsoft Word. So if I click on edit here, it will prompt me to open that up in Word. I'm going to do that. And before I switch to my Word screen, you can see that this document has been locked so that no one else can modify it. I can unlock it, but while I'm editing, I will keep that lock on there so that no one can come in and change any of my work. So now I'm going to switch to Microsoft Word where we see our document here. And this lets me know it is saving this version in Filevine. My save icon has like a little refresh symbol. So I'm going to just make some changes here, maybe highlight the text or change the color.
You can also see that in the title, it's a lot longer than what you would have put in your document. There's a series of letters and numbers just after the name of your document. That's also a good indicator that your editing and whatever edits you're doing will reflect in Filevine.
So I'm going to save here, and this is my indication that it's been saved. It's not going to prompt me to save a copy locally. It's just going to let me know it's been saved. And then when I come back into Filevine, I can click on that document and see my changes. So there's my red text and then my big new text right here, but those changes were applied directly in Microsoft Word. I'm going to go ahead and unlock this, but normally you don't have to manually unlock it. When you are finished with your edits, it will unlock. So that was
as long as you exit out of that Word screen, that unlock should go away. So if you see it, maybe somebody didn't close out of the Word document completely or something like that.
Yeah. Good. Yes, good call out. So if it is still locked and you know the edits are done, you might need to ping someone and say, hey, can you close that document? All right. That's editing a Word doc. You can also edit PDFs. So I'm going to open up my edit function here. And the PDF editor through Docs Plus looks very similar to other PDF editors you may be using. There's a toolbar up here that shows you can edit the document. Forms allows you to apply fields that people can fill in. You could insert checkboxes or signatures. The signature field, oops, not that one. On insert, you can insert your signature. You can either draw it, type it, or upload. But when you are uploading a signature, that is only being applied to the document you're currently editing. It's not going to store a copy of that signature here for you. But under insert, it does allow you to insert your signature, a stamp, an image, comment. You can insert shapes. You can annotate. And then we just have our view with our panel over here. I jumped over redact. This one is a little more permanent in terms of the change. Most of the other changes we could go in and we could erase or undo, but when you apply a redaction in Filevine, it gives you a little warning. I'll go ahead and start to apply this one. When I click the apply check mark, I get this box here that lets me know this is permanently removing this and it can't be undone. So unlike the other edits, we can't go in and undo this one. I'm going to apply it anyway. And after I save the document over here, so this is a little different from our Word editing. You do have to save the doc over here in the top right to see those changes applied. But when I save the document, I can't go in and remove this. If that redaction was applied by accident, or maybe you applied that before you had a clean copy, you can always go to the document's version history and you can restore it to a previous or unredacted version. You could also just download the unredacted version and save it here, but that's where I like to call out that version history is if you've redacted something, you can't undo it, but you can always access a previous version of that document if you need to. Let me make sure. Oh, one other thing I did not call out with our PDF editing. When we have this panel expanded, this allows you to rotate pages, delete pages, extract them, or you can insert blank pages in between them. If you needed to include maybe an exhibit sheet or something along those lines, you could always go back through the document and insert blank pages to mark those out. Okay, so that is filtering the documents section. We talked about editing Word docs, editing PDFs, and creating share links for folders, for files, and also utilizing that Note This feature. You have a few other options up here that I haven't touched on yet. The Combiner tool allows you to take multiple documents, and they could be PDFs or Word documents, and combine them into one binder. So if I select, I'm going to unselect that email. I'm going to choose these 2 Word documents. I'm holding down Shift, so that's why it's doing that. I'm going to choose these 2 Word documents and our demand package. And when I have those 3 docs selected, I can click this symbol here where you've got 2 lines merging into one. And that will show me a preview of the order these documents will be in. When I hit next, it shows me how that new document will be named. So if I want to, I can just call this new combined. Don't know why I put an exclamation point, but we'll get rid of that. And then it allows you to select a folder that you can make that document save into. I'm just going to let it save in our main area. Click continue. One other thing I did not note was that it will save this combined document as a PDF. So once my combining tool is done, I've got a PDF version of those documents that I selected.
There's a question in the chat, Amanda.
Sure. Yeah. Prior to coming over to Filevine, whenever we OCR'd a document, in addition to making it searchable, it also auto-rotated pages that were turned. Is there no way that Filevine will do that automatically? I am not sure if Filevine does that automatically. I do know that you can manually turn the documents, but Jasmine, unless you've seen a new feature come through, I don't think that Filevine will automatically rotate pages that are facing the wrong direction.
I have not seen one either.
Close out of my combined document here. Along with the document combining tool, you can choose to bait stamp documents. So if you need to apply a bait stamp you'll click on that stamp icon. It gives you the option to add more documents here if you need to. And on the next screen, it shows you some advanced options for where and how that bait stamp is applied. Prefix allows you to type anything that may need to appear before the bait stamp. You can set the number of digits. So how many do you need? And then set the starting page. I'm going to start on page 1. So this is what my bait stamp will look like when it's been applied. I've got my prefix here, and then I've got 5 digits, but my starting page is on page 1. I can choose to see that in the bottom left or the bottom middle, but our default is the bottom right. And then if you need to skip the first page, you can designate that here, but the default is to apply that bait stamp to all pages. You have a few options for changing the font. It's a pretty limited list. And then you have similarly a few options for how large that bait stamp can be. It maxes out at 16 points, but you can make it as small as 6 points. Our default though is Times New Roman in 12 point. So I'll just click start and I can see that it's applying that bait stamp to my document. Once it's finished, I just click close, and any documents that you bait stamp will be automatically saved in a new folder called bait stamp documents. So when I click this open to preview, I'll see that bait stamp in the bottom right corner. And so I have my bait stamped version of this demand package here, but when I navigate back to the main doc section, here's my clean copy. So it will save a bait stamped copy in addition to the original copy that's already within Filevine. All right. Let's see, that's our bait stamping, our combiner tool. This tool here allows you to upload files from your desktop. You can also drag and drop those files or entire folders into this section, and it will honor that folder tree. So if I'm dropping a whole client file with subfolders and tons of documents, I can drag that right here and it will upload in the way that it appears out of Filevine. And then this option allows you to create a new Word document, Excel workbook, or PowerPoint presentation from Filevine. So it's opening up in those programs, but we're just initiating that creation here. Let me see if there's anything else I want to cover in the docs section.
You can manually add folders. Maybe over that at the
Yes.
Yep, you can do it there, which is nice if you have like, one-off folders that you don't really need org-wide, but maybe just for this case or client, you can go through and manage your folders. You could do subfolders as well. And then in the no, that's great. If you want to go through the rest of the
Yep, let me just go ahead and
then there's a few other options on that drop down for you to like manage your folders, move them, rename them, different things like that. And then in the top left corner by that filter docs, it's a different way to view your folder structure. Some people like this look a little bit better. You can also add new folders directly from here.
Yep.
Less options than the other one, but you have a couple of different ways of viewing and adding new folders.
Awesome. Yes, thanks for calling out that view. I normally stick to the default view, but this one is a little cleaner, especially if you're used to seeing all of your folders off on the side and then searching for documents within those. Okay. Any other questions on the docs section? Anything we've gone over? For those of you who use the Outlook add-in, also that gives you access to your project documents. So if you've got that add-in connected, you can search for projects and it will pull up your folder tree. It will allow you to select any of those folders, and automatically, just by clicking on them, it attaches it to the email that you're drafting. Same thing if you're using that Outlook attachment or add-in and you get an email with attachments and you push that email through, it's going to send those over and give us these tags here. In your document hub, this is where you can search project documents across your entire org or your project template. So if you are wanting to look for something, maybe you sent a demand in one case and you need to reference some language for another case, you could search for that document by the title, or if that document's OCR, same thing, you can search for those keywords in your Docs Hub here. And that's just showing you you're not limited to a specific project. You can search for those same tags. You've got your title contains, so if you want to search by a keyword in the document title, or if you know it's in a specific folder, you can search for those. We've got our document contains, and then you can filter down by the person who uploaded the document or a date range, which is helpful. You can look for a specific date range if you know it's in, the last 2 weeks. We don't necessarily need to search through all time. We can specify that here. And then the last edited date. But the Docs Hub up here gives you a little more options for how you search for those documents across the org and across your projects. All right. Those were the tools I wanted to call out. Jasmine, can you think of anything I may have missed?
If we want to show them advanced, I know sometimes not everybody has access to advanced, but for those of you that do, Amanda mentioned kind of at the beginning, there's a way for you to auto select a folder for documents to go into. And so again, for those of you that have access to the advanced section and customs editor, you would select customs editor and then choose the project type that you're looking to edit. Some folks may only have one, which is totally fine. And then we all at Vine Skills like to use Command F or Control F, I guess, depending on your computer, because there's so many fields and sections. Sometimes it's just easier to narrow it down. But once you found your fields, feel free to take it away, Amanda.
Oh yeah, so once you found your field, here we don't have a folder tree set up, but this is where you would see your folders. I'll show you where you set that up. If you log into Filevine and notice, oh hey, I don't have a folder tree either, you can set that up while you're here in the customs editor menu. But this auto move to folder option is letting us know anytime we add a document to this field, it will file that document away in a specific folder in the docs section. You can also auto tag documents if they're being uploaded. So it gives you that extra layer of filtering if you want to search through maybe fee agreement is one of your tags. And every time a new fee agreement is uploaded, you've got that tag automatically applied that you can use to filter down your documents. And then under the folders tab of your customs editor, that's where you can create a new folder template. So you'll see we don't have a folder template set up yet. If I want to create a new one, I'll click on create folder template. The default is that your doc section is going to reflect your project name. So that first folder that we see here, this is really just letting us know this is the project's doc section. And we can add folders underneath by selecting this one, typing our folder name and clicking the check mark to add that in. If you want to add subfolders, you just select the folder that you want to start building under, I should say, not over. So this first one, this is letting us know we want to set these folders up within the docs section, but then any folders underneath, you can select to create subfolders within. This is also a DocGen code. I know that this is document management and not DocGen, but DocGen codes can be used in your folder tree. So if you wanted to have maybe the client's name automatically fill in here when you're typing your folder name in, I can pull in, let me do it correctly, client name. Oh, I can't do an apostrophe though. I knew that. I could say client names medicals. So you would then see John Doe's medicals when that populates in a project, but this will fill in whatever the client's name is at that time. And then you just hit save and that folder tree will be visible in projects going forward. So if you go and you set up new folders today, but you have existing projects in Filevine, those new folders won't show up until you open a new project. It's not a retroactive tool here. I do like to call that out because sometimes people go and create folders and think they did something wrong because they're not seeing them in old projects, but this is something going forward. So it's only going to impact new projects. Yeah. So that is setting up that auto move in the sections portion, and then also creating a folder tree if you don't have one already. Any questions here? All right. That is everything I have to cover with our document management, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have or go back over any of those tools we talked about if I went through it a little too fast. Also want to give the opportunity for any Filevine questions you might have. We don't have to stick on the topic of documents for this one. If you don't have any questions, thank you for joining, but I will hang out for anyone who might. I do have a question in the chat. Derek, general question on the AI fields feature, if I've used it. I will allow anyone in the chat, if you have used the AI fields, to chime in. I have not been able to use it yet, but I've seen several demos and it looks like a really useful tool. They've done some cool things with using the AI fields to summarize medical records, but you can really build them out to do whatever you'd like. It's an exciting new feature.
Sorry about that.
We are just answering some questions.
Awesome.
Had a question come in about the AI fields.
While we wait for other questions to file in, just a introduction, I guess, or reintroduction for some of you that have been on a couple of our free help sessions. But Vine Skills does offer, as we mentioned, launch and optimization services, as well as auxiliary services. So if you're looking to do any like automations, FEDA, lead docket, any of that stuff, we do that. I'm going to link or drop in the chat our website. That way you all can poke around if you haven't had a chance to look on there. If you're looking to maybe revamp your docs section, manage that docs section. I know a lot of clients are like, have all of their docs just kind of poured into that main folder that Amanda was showing. So if you're looking for somebody to help you like organize and manage that, you can always retain our services to do stuff like that. We do a whole host and wealth of Filevine related things, and you can always feel free to reach out to us. I'll also put mine and Amanda's email addresses in the chat. That way, if you have questions after this, you can feel free to reach out to us. And then I'll also drop the link for free help just so that you guys can see the next sessions coming up. For those of you that have lead docket, there's actually a webinar just after this specific to lead dockets. It's an ask me anything format. So if you have lead docket, would highly recommend joining that as well. Any other questions that you all have that we could answer for you? The lead docket one is directly after this at 12 Pacific Standard Time. You can find, if you're on our MailChimp service or our like newsletter send out, it should be in there. If not, I can at the bottom of our free help, it says like new lead docket free help. You can sign up there to get notified. But I can also look up the link if needed. If you want to send me an email, if you're not able to access that, I can get you a link sent over for it. Any other questions before we hop off? Thank you, Amanda. You did a phenomenal job. If you all do have questions that come up, definitely feel free to reach out via email.
Thanks, Jasmine. Thank you all for joining.
Have a good one. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.